Okay students, today we will discuss about a process known as the parthenogenesis, which is a way of reproduction among certain animals. I am Vivek Goel from Government National College Sirsa. So among animals, we can see that the animals reproduce by different means, like the asexual reproduction, where the parent divides into two by fission or say by budding to give rise to the young ones. Among for sexual reproduction, male and female gametes fuse together to form the embryo. The process of fusion is known as the fertilization, and this embryo develops into the adult. The parthenogenesis, which we are talking about, is a term derived from the Greek word. The parthenos means virgin, and genesis means to create. So parthenogenesis is basically giving birth to young ones without fertilization. So what happens in parthenogenesis, the egg directly develops into embryo without any contribution from the male gamete, which develop into adult. So this egg is generally haploid, but it may be diploid due to certain errors, and it helps in the development of embryo into adult. So what is parthenogenesis? The term parthenogenesis was first used by the Richard Owen in 1849. According to Batey, in 1967, parthenogenesis is defined as the production of an embryo, from a female gamete. So we are producing a embryo from the female gamete without any genetic contribution of the male gamete. So there is no role of male genetic material. But at the same time, the sperm may be required. The difference between the two, that sperm may be required, but its genetic material, the DNA of the sperm, is not required. Sperm is required to stimulate the egg so that it can divide further and develop into an embryo. So parthenogenesis is the production of an embryo from female gamete without genetic contribution of the male gamete and with or without eventual development into an adult. The embryo so developed during parthenogenesis may be viable or may not be viable, as we can discuss later on. So there are basically two different types of parthenogenesis. One is the natural parthenogenesis, and other is artificial parthenogenesis. Natural parthenogenesis occurs in many group of animals. So in many animals, parthenogenesis occurs as a natural phenomenon in the life cycle. For example, the aphids, phylopods, rotifers, and insects like honeybees, predatory wasps, and ants. Among vertebrates, it can be seen in fishes, certain reptiles, and even in birds. So these are the aphids. which are the sap sucking insects, small sap sucking insects on the plants, is the honeybee, which has it has different, the hive of the honeybee has different castes of honeybee which may develop through parthenogenesis. And these are the predatory wasps. Natural parthenogenesis was first reported by Charles Bonnet in 1740 while he was working on the aphids. The natural parthenogenesis may be obligatory or it may be facultative. Obligatory parthenogenesis means that some animals reproduce exclusively by parthenogenesis. For example, rotifers, whip-tailed lizards of genus Nemidophorus, and Indian blind snake Indotyphlops. The males are either rare or altogether absent in such species. So this is the Indian blind snake, and this is the whip-tailed lizard found in the USA. Another type of natural parthenogenesis is the facultative one. So as the name indicates, the females can produce offspring either sexually or via asexual reproduction. The asexual reproduction here means the parthenogenesis. So the unfertilized eggs. The main difference between the asexual reproduction and parthenogenesis is that during parthenogenesis, unfertilized eggs develop into embryo, which further develop into young ones or the adult. Whereas in asexual reproduction, the animal itself divides. So during facultative parthenogenesis, the animal has the choice of either reproducing sexually or through parthenogenesis. And this is very rare and generally happens in the absence of viable male in the habitat. For example, the mayfly, sharks, snakes, and Komodo dragons. As you know that mayfly has a very short lifespan, and if it doesn't find a suitable male, they reproduce by parthenogenesis. The Komodo dragons found in Indonesia, they can reproduce parthenogenetically in the absence of a viable male. The sharks, the zebra shark here, it can reproduce parthenogenetically if the in the absence of viable male. In natural parthenogenesis can be divided into three types. One is the Arhenotochus or haploid parthenogenesis. Arhenotochus, this in the haploid parthenogenesis, the males are produced from unfertilized eggs. For example, honeybees. So in Arhenotochus, males are produced from the unfertilized egg. So unfertilized eggs give rise to the males in case of Arhenotochus. In case of Thelytochus or the diploid parthenogenesis, unfertilized egg give rise to the female. The production of female offspring from the unfertilized eggs. And in case of Deuterotochus or Deuterotochi, the unfertilized eggs can give rise to male as well as the female. It happens in some insects of the family Coccidae, the scale insect, the commonly known as the scaly insects, or or the very familiar example is the millibug. So let's discuss the different types of parthenogenesis. Arenotochus parthenogenesis, or the haploid parthenogenesis, as we know, it occurs in the honeybee. The term is derived from the Greek word "arin" means the male person, and the "tochus" means to give birth. So it results in the birth of a male haploid. It, so it results in the birth of male from the haploid unfertilized eggs, whereas the fertilized eggs develop into female, which are diploid. So fertilized egg will be a diploid egg, and it develops into female, whereas the unfertilized egg, which is a haploid one, develops into the male. So different examples are the insects of order Hymenoptera, like honeybees, wasps, ants, and the thrips. So what happens in honeybee, as you know, that the hive of the honeybee has different castes in the hive, as they have a division of labor. Honeybee has 16 number of chromosome as a haploid set. The unfertilized eggs develop into male haploid drones, which produce sperm by mitosis. So any unfertilized egg which will be haploid develops into male. They produce sperm by mitosis. And the fertilized eggs which are diploid, they develop into female. So they are 2n. The fertilized eggs are 2n, and they develop into female, which are either fertile, and it is known as the queen, or the worker, which are sterile females. The sterility or the fertility depends upon the nature of food fed to them. So you can see this is the honeybee, Apis mellifera. This is a drone. So this drone will be haploid and produces the sperm by mitosis. This is the fertile female, or the queen, and this is the sterile female, or the worker. In case of Thalitoki, the diploid parthenogenesis, it is a term derived from the Greek, means the thalis means the female, and the tochos means to give birth. It results in the birth of female from the diploid unfertilized eggs. What happened in the Arenotoki, if you see the slide which we have discussed earlier. In case of Arenotoki, there are two types of eggs. One are the unfertilized, other one are the fertilized. Unfertilized eggs give rise to the males, and fertilized egg give rise to the female. So basically in parthenogenesis we discuss about the unfertilized eggs, because for fertilization a male is required, and that leads to the sexual form of reproduction. So coming back to the Thalitokos, the diploid parthenogenesis, which is a term derived from the Greek word, means to give birth to the female individual. Here the unfertilized eggs gives rise to the female. But Here, the unfertilized eggs are not haploid, they are diploid. And how can an unfertilized egg be a diploid egg? We will discuss it later, but this is due to certain errors in the meiosis, which leads to the diploid unfertilized eggs. It is more commonly seen in invertebrate like the aphids, a very interesting example. But it can also be reported in vertebrates like the salamanders, fish, reptile, and reptiles such as the whiptail lizards, a very interesting animal. So here you can see an aphid, a very small sap-sucking insect, giving birth to the female aphid, and you can see that it is a viviparous condition. The aphid, though it is an insect, but it is not oviparous all the time. So whenever the aphids are reproducing through parthenogenesis, they are giving birth to young ones instead of laying the eggs. Thalidochi in reptiles. A very interesting example of parthenogenesis in vertebrates can be observed in the in the whiptail lizards of the belonging to the Nemidophorus. So what happened that Nemidophorus are basically sexually reproducing lizards, but two different species of Nemidophorus lizards, two different species of Nemidophorus lizards reproduced naturally to give rise to a hybrid species. Now this hybrid species or the hybridization which is sterile, and it starts reproducing through parthenogenesis. They have a very interesting courtship behavior. So as all the lizards are female, so two female came together, of which one is mature and is ready to ovulate. But at the same time, it requires stimulus for ovulation. The another female, which is not mature, act as a male, and they copulate together so that the ovulating female or the mature female gets the required stimulus so that it can produce the eggs which develop into embryo and the adult. So they show unusual female courtship behavior to induce ovulation, with one non-ovulating female acting as a male while the other ovulating female assumes the typical female role, which produce the eggs. This is a pseudocopulation. This female copulation is pseudocopulation, which results in the production of hormone required for the ovulation. So this is a whiptail lizard found in the USA. So how do the unfertilized eggs become diploid? So meiotic thalidochi is a result of error in the process of meiosis occurring during the oogenesis. Oogenesis is the process through which the eggs are developed through meiosis. They have one reductional division and one equational division, which results in the production of haploid gametes. But if there are some errors, the meiosis may not occur, or there are certain other possibilities thereby producing the diploid ovum instead of haploid ovum. This diploid ovum, when gets the stimulus, they develop into the female embryo. This is the thalidochi. So how can this happen? This can happen in two ways. One is the auto-fertilization. We know that there are polar bodies generated during the oogenesis. These polar bodies have the genetic material, but they don't have any food. The food is absent, but they have the DNA or the genetic material. So during auto-fertilization, one of the polar body fuses with the ovum. It's a small polar body. It fuses with the ovum, thereby producing the 2n ovum. So in auto-fertilization, the oogenesis process occur normally till the formation of secondary oocyte and the polar bodies. Thereafter, the second polar body fuses with the secondary oocyte, and later the secondary oocyte develops into a diploid female. For example, in Komodo dragon. Komodo dragon is a large lizard found in the Indonesia. It feeds on dead decaying matter like the vultures. Restitution. Method is restitution. Another method is restitution. In this process, during oogenesis, primary oocyte undergo karyokinesis to produce the secondary oocyte and the polar body, but this karyokinesis is not followed by cytokinesis, and the ovum or the primary oocyte or the primary oocyte remain the diploid. In restitution, the karyokinesis happens, but cytokinesis is not followed. Another is the ameiotic thalidochi. In ameiotic thalidochi, the first reductional division during meiosis is suppressed and only second maturation division occurs, that is mitosis, thereby giving rise to the diploid gametes. So let's sum up. We have natural parthenogenesis of different types. One is the arenotoky or the haploid parthenogenesis, other is the diploid parthenogenesis. Haploid parthenogenesis results in the formation of the male embryo from the unfertilized haploid eggs. This is also known as the arenotoky. And the other is the diploid parthenogenesis, which results in the formation of female embryo, which is again unfertilized, which develops from the unfertilized uh, gamete, but the egg, but the unfertilized egg is diploid here due to certain errors during the oogenesis. Another one is the artificial parthenogenesis. Occurs under certain conditions or stimulus that may lead a normal egg which always develop into the young individuals by fertilization. So you are talking about a normal egg which develops through fertilization only. But under certain conditions or the stimulus, it develops parthenogenetically into the embryo. What are such conditions or the stimulus? This type of parthenogenesis is known as the artificial parthenogenesis. The artificial parthenogenesis may be induced by various chemical and physical means. The artificial parthenogenesis has been induced in eggs of echinoderms, mollusks, annelids, amphibians, birds, and mammals by different workers. So, what are these artificial stimulus or the conditions? They can be divided into physical or the chemical stimulus. Among the physical stimulus, one is the temperature. When there is a sudden change in temperature, it may induce the parthenogenesis in the eggs. For example, when we transfer the egg from 30 degree to minus 10 degree, the parthenogenesis is induced. Electric shock can also induce the parthenogenesis. Similarly, ultraviolet light is observed to produce the parthenogenesis. Fine glass needle. If we prick the egg with the fine glass needle, it may induce the parthenogenesis in the egg. Chemical means there are certain chemicals which are observed to be the stimulus for parthenogenesis, like the chloroform, hypertonic or hypertonic seawater, chlorides, potassium ion, calcium ion, sodium, magnesium, etc. Acids such as the butyric acid, lactic acid, oleic fatty acids, fat solvents like toluene, alcohol, benzene, urea, and sucrose are also observed to be the inducer of the parthenogenesis. So, what is the significance of parthenogenesis? There are certain advantages of parthenogenesis, that it is a simple, stable, and most easy process. It is fast, it is simple, it is stable, it is fast and easy process. It serves as a mean of the determination of sex in the honeybees. Like we know that the unfertilized eggs of honeybees develop into male, whereas the fertilized eggs develop into female. It supports the famous chromosome theory of inheritance. It eliminates the variation from the population. When the variation is eliminated, the most favorable genes are propagated from generation to generation. It is the best way of high rate of multiplication in certain insects like aphids. So aphids, which are the facultative parthenogenetic animals, they reproduce parthenogenetically when they need high rate of population. It causes polyploidy in organism through hybridization, like the whiptail lizard. As mating is not required, it saves energy. It avoids the sterility in the races, as all the population is fertile. But at the same time, there are certain disadvantages. Like due to the absence of recombination and variation among the offsprings, the individual produced due to parthenogenesis are not much successful in the struggle of existence. Secondly, as it is a fast process, it may lead to more population, which may lead to overcrowding and competition. So that's all for the parthenogenesis. Thank you, and you may contact me at the given email ID for any query. Thank you.